3 a.m. in the morning. I'm sitting
That's into right field. Long run for Pilar. And Pilar all out into foul territory to make the play.
Bogaerts with a drive out to right field. Judge is back on it, and that one's gone.
Against all odds. Here's a high fly ball driven deep to right. Verdugo back to the pen. Leaps up. He caught it. He caught the ball. He took it back.
And I will keep on waiting for a better day.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the greatest Red Sox podcast out there, the Pesky Pole podcast. How you guys doing today? We have a somewhat jam-packed episode. We finally have content again. This is the second time in 2 years that my show's been interrupted due to the MLB just saying, screw it, no more baseball, 60-game season, y'all can go F off, right? So this is finally, we're back, and we have some spring training and some signings. But joining me today, we have one guy that, like I say, every time you've seen far too many times. He has a face only a mother could love. Adam, say hi to the people.
Hello to the people, and I do have a face that your mother that your mother loves, including Robert's.
Okay, that is a perfect example of twisting my words against me, but I deserve that one. But the second guy that we have on is somebody you haven't seen before, mainly because he's a Yankees fan and the Yankees absolutely suck. But met this guy last year as I was a senior, living in a freshman dorm as an RA. Here's one of my students. He's now made his way onto the Fumblerooski podcast, which Adam hosts. Justin, say what's good to the people.
Oh, no.
And I think he's frozen.
That Wi-Fi in that dorm is not very good. But no. I will say, I've hosted a lot of episodes from that dorm, and I haven't had many issues, so it must be a recent thing.
Mm-hmm. No, 100%. And plus, when him and I have played video games, it's usually not that bad. But I guess in today's kind of bad. So if you guys who are Spotify users, or if you're seeing this on YouTube and you just see a lack of Justin, we're going to have him in and out sporadically. But at least I got one other. Yep, he's gone. At least I have one other person in here. So, big news that just dropped this morning. Adam, tell the people.
Trevor Story, who was formerly a Colorado Rocky
Respect
for his
to Denver,
entire
by the
career.
Way.
What's that?
Respect to Denver, by the way.
Maybe a little bit. They're most of those hitters can't hit outside of their own stadium. But anyways, Trevor Story is now a Boston Red Sox. And it was a 4-year, it was a 6-year, $140 million deal. He's going to be going to second. Bogaerts remains at short. This is one of the better middle infields in the game already.
Not even just the middle infield. Just, I know we lost Renfroe, which we'll get into later, but this is one of just the best infields.
Oh yeah,
I'd say
Devers,
top 5 infield in the league.
Rafi Devers, and we'll see how Dahlbeck ends up. But I mean, he's first base is the only real hole that they have. Even the outfield is pretty solid. Kike Hernandez, JBJ. Haven't even mentioned Alex Verdugo.
Can't we even start Kike at first? He played a couple games at first last year.
You can also put JD there as well.
Mm-hmm.
But then who's going to play DH?
Yeah, we still need one more. Well, realistically, I like that we went out when we made a big splash, but we need 2 more guys. We need one more infielder, mainly as a rotational guy for when Bobby Dahlbeck bats his month of like an 052.
Absolutely.
He just sucks, so we need to throw somebody else in there for a while. We could use another outfielder. I mean, I don't know about you, but I'm thinking of calling back up Franchy Cordero.
So, Franchy, well, don't get me started on Franchy Cordero, Mr. Can't hit to save his goddamn life. Mm-hmm. But I mean, and we can talk a little bit more later on in the show about the rest of the Red Sox needs, but I'd rather stay on this one signing because this is a big one. Trevor Story, probably the biggest. No, that this is definitely the biggest signing they've had since JD Martinez.
Oh, 100%.
Back in 2018.
And the trading of Chris Sale, which was that 17?
Oh, he's back.
He's back. He'll get in here.
Hey, Jay Hill.
Justin.
What's up?
We're just going to keep the recording going, but while you're still here, introduce yourself to the people.
My name is Justin Hill. I'm a sports broadcasting major at Dean College. I write for the Dean Daily. I'm part of Adam's podcast, the Fumblerooski podcast, and great to be with you, gentlemen, especially you, Rob.
Yeah. Justin and I have been really close. You know, I've been whooping his ass in Madden since day one. I'll even whoop him with his own New York Giants, and he hates it. Justin, tell them how much you know about David Blau.
David
Exactly. Blau. Say that again?
We don't talk about that guy.
Okay. For the people at home who don't know, David Blau is a 56 overall QB in Madden. He's a backup QB for the Detroit Lions, and I will use him to whoop Justin's ass in Madden every single year. I wanted this year, but Madden's not cross-gen. That's the next guest I'm hoping to get on the Fumblerooski podcast, but maybe one day.
So going back to Trevor Story, we talked about him a little bit. Just me and you, Robert, for a couple minutes before Justin Hill was able to come back on the show. But Justin, how about you give your thoughts? Because you had some strong feelings coming into this call about it. I had to stop you because I'm like, man, we got to save this for the pesky poll listeners. But what's your take on, what's your take on Trevor Story signing his 6-year, $140 million contract?
So Adam and Rob, so my whole thing with the whole contract is, number one, he got paid. Congratulations to the Red Sox for getting their guy. However, I think it may be a risky contract. We've seen in recent years with the Red Sox buying players for this type of money, putting them in the 6 to 7 years, and they want them either getting traded or released. We've seen this a couple times, such as Hanley Ramirez, Pablo Sandoval, and Adrian Gonzalez, only lasting maybe 1 to 2 years. Like, the list goes on with this team, and like, not to mention with the sweepstakes for Trevor Story, the Yankees were in contention. A lot of other teams were in contention, and I can see myself as a Yankee fan, as a baseball fan, why the Yankees didn't get him. Why? Because they're probably saying this, okay, we've been in this situation before, getting a 30-year-old or 29-year-old that's about to hit 30 years old. For example, Jacoby Ellsbury, when the Yankees got him, he was 30 or 31 years old when they got him, and then look what happened from there on. So I can see another reason why the Yankees didn't get him, because hey, we've been through this route before, buying players that were 29, 30 years old, and they want to becoming either a bust or they want to get hurt. But at the same time with the Red Sox, hey, it's a great move. You're going to be able to switch him to second base along with Xander Bogaerts staying at shortstop, and hope he's a good presence on your club, you guys, because it's going to be, because like, you take a lot of risks giving that guy that type of money, in my opinion. But if it's better for a team, it is good.
Yeah, no, 100%. We haven't had a good second baseman. Debate if you want about Kike Hernandez. He got rated a 91 overall in MLB, and I'm sitting here like, why did he deserve that? But anyway, we haven't had like this caliber of a second baseman since Petey. Not even close. So to have a good second baseman fill that void is going to be great. But it did come at a cost. We lost Hunter Renfroe. Hunter Renfroe now goes over to the Brewers, I believe. He's now living his best life over there. Honestly, I'm down for it. I didn't want to lose Renfroe, but if we're going to get Trevor Story in return, small sacrifice.
Trevor Story is a great signing. Don't get me wrong. And this is going to be, this is obviously going to be the best middle infield the Red Sox have had since they had the Xander Bogaerts, Dustin Pedroia duo for a couple of years before Petey obviously ran out of gas and he just couldn't play at the level that he could, playing as hard as he, it's hard to, with the way he plays, but that's a completely different thing. I'm worried about the timing of it because all right. So Trevor Story was signed right before a season, which could potentially be Xander Bogaerts' last year. And we know what we know Chaim Bloom's track record of signing players and, moving on, playing a little bit on the cheap side. You really think that he's going to hang on to Xander Bogaerts? The timing is just a little bit worrisome for me, because I wonder if they know something and they're bringing in Trevor Story as a replacement for Xander Bogaerts to move over there, because this is an opt-out year for Xander Bogaerts. If he has the option to just leave the team if he wants to. Now, if he stays in, he's a Red Sox through 2026. So I'm fingers crossed here, but I'm a little bit worried here.
So let me jump into that right after. Like, can the Red Sox afford Xander Bogaerts next season? Yes. But at the same time, you took a little bit of risk given the Trevor Story and a little bit more of the money that I think he's maybe worth $140 million, not $160 million he got. But at the same time,
he got $140.
He got $140. Oh, I thought it was like $160. But with this whole situation, you're getting a star. He had 160-something hits last year, as I read before we went on this podcast. So that's a good start right there. But you have to think about the future, because let's not forget, a couple years ago, the Red Sox were literally in financial debt. You wound up trading your captain, who I claim is your captain, Mookie Betts. You wound up getting rid of David Price, which you had to, because the Yankees own that man. And
touche.
And another like, you have to give him a couple like things or whatnot, but at the end of the day, you were able to balance and rebuild in 1 year. So I'm happy for you guys are there, but at the same time, you have to think like long term, because there's a lot of things in the near future you guys have to do. Re-sign Devers, re-sign Bogaerts. Like, there's so many things.
Which is true, but at the same time, I can see where Adam's worried about. But this is probably more along the lines of, hey, we need you here. We're going to build all the pieces around you. Because let's be honest, Bogaerts is our main man right now. Nobody on the team is better than Xander Bogaerts. Besides 100% Chris Sale, you can make a case for a healthy – no, Devers isn't better. Devers isn't better.
He's good for a lefty hitter.
Yeah, no, 100%. But he's not Devers.
Yeah, that was established when Bogaerts, when the team shipped out bets that they were going to establish Bogaerts and Devers as their top, their franchise cornerstones. Now you bring in Trevor Story, and they happen to be doing it just before a potential opt-out year for Xander Bogaerts. I hope he stays. And
who else could they have gotten?
The Red Sox?
Yeah, who else could the Red Sox have gotten?
Carlos Correa,
true, but
that's on a larger scale. But the fact that they went in and they went in and they were also really heavily rumored in possibly getting Correa as well. So the fact that they went in and got one of the premier shortstops in the league rather than just settling on Renfroe tells me, I mean, it's not they might be looking to transition him over to shortstop, maybe if Bogaerts leaves.
Mm-hmm.
So with Adam, if Correa was on the Red Sox, in my eyes, he would have probably been on a 1-year rental, because if you look at his Twins option, he's on a player. No. I think he can decide on his second year and third year. But the reason why, in my eyes, if he would have became a Red Sox, he would have been gone the second or third year. Why? Because the contract he's in right now that I read, it's under his old agent, but his new agent, Scott Boras, I think, like with Correa, whatever deal he was supposed, if he was ever going to become a Red Sox, he'll probably opt out the second year. So
I disagree, because he's at that age where he wants a big contract. I think the reason he only did a second and third year option for the Twins is because that's an organization he might not want to be a part of, but he still wants to get paid. So if you were a Red Sox, that's a team that he wants to be on long term. It's a big market team. And what I hate about Chaim Bloom in these small market GMs is that they're so wired to their ways that even once they go to a big market team like the Red Sox, or if somebody went to the Yankees, they would still cheap out, even though they have it's like you're not using all your resources. And if it's possible to keep Bogaerts and Story for years to come, you do that. Then you have the best middle infield possibly in the game, arguably. And if you hang on to Devers for a few more years, probably the best infield. So if you have a chance to keep that, do it. Don't play this analytics BS.
Yeah, but like with what you're saying, Adam, here's the thing. With Correa, you're going to obviously put him at short if he was on the Red Sox. And you're obviously going to move Xander to second base. Like, do another 2.0 with Jeter and A-Rod when A-Rod went to third and Jeter went to short. But however, we're going into your conversation with Correa, we've seen in recent years of teams making ridiculous, stupid decisions regarding contracts. So I understand the point you're coming from with the long term. But a guy like Correa, like, I'm not going to sound biased. Maybe he would sign a long-term deal if he was going to consider the Red Sox. However, in my eyes, the route that he went to, such as like Minnesota and all, he's only going to be there for one season just to get a little bit of more money the next year, make a whole new contract. And like, and it's such and such like that.
Mm-hmm. Which I can definitely see that his stint with the Twins being, I'm going to guess probably 2 years. I say he's not.
It's a paycheck at the end of the day.
Yeah,
it seems like I wonder if with that, because he settled on the Twins and he has year 2 and 3 opt-outs in a 3-year deal, is that he wanted more money. Nobody wanted to commit to him besides the Twins, who had that offer, and they were like, okay, look, I'm not sure if I want to be here. I just want to be here for let's do a 3-year contract. And we'll see how it looks after year 1. We'll see it, and we'll just take it year by year. And if I want to leave and I get a better contract offer by like, let's say the Dodgers or the Red Sox, just name the big market team that he wants to get paid for and be put onto the big spotlight for. But I think it's one of those situations where, he had no other option, so he had to settle on the Twins.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he had no other option because, repeating what I said, like, people forget his old agent. He wound up firing, and he wound up getting Boras. So the contract he's in right now, it's under his old agent's name. And then next year, when he can like opt out or whatever like big contract he can get or whatever, some like a big market team like the Red Sox, Yankees, whatever, it's gonna be Scott Boras's name. You know what I'm saying? So that's another reason why he signed. He agreed to like those opt out years, but it is what it is.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but let's transition a little bit. So we're talking about one guy earlier, Bobby Dalbec. Now he kind of struggles sometimes. There will be months where he goes like I said, 0.52 batting average. Sometimes he will just absolutely suck. But Alex Cora has publicly come out, and he said he's going to try Bobby Dalbec at different positions besides first base. What do we feel about that? Does that mean that Alex Cora doesn't trust that he's going to be our centerpiece for the first base spot for the next couple of years, even though he's young? What does that mean for Bobby Dalbec?
Jay Hill, you can go first on this one.
So looking at like his stats, whatever, he hit like 25 home runs with 240 batting average, like 78 RBIs, and like played 133 games. But regarding with this route, since you're saying Rob, he played first base, right?
Mm-hmm.
So given a guy like that in that particular moment mentality, you're gonna obviously play a guy like that each day. Like, he's like, coming up, he's like, 25 years old, I'm guessing?
25, 26, yeah.
25, 26. So that's like a young guy right there. Like, we're seeing it
26.
like, right? We're seeing it like right now, for example, like if he was like drafted into the organization, such as, for example, Kyle Tucker on the Astros, you want to keep a guy like that, like, and with a good, like, not good batting average, but like good like hits and good home runs like that. And plus, like, knowing Alex Cora, like, yes, he's a cheater. And in my opinion, he should not even be coaching the MLB. He should be banned for life. But at the same time, like, he knows what he's doing because the guy, he knows baseball and he has a baseball mindset. So playing with a guy and coaching like such as like Alex Cora, he's gonna put his players up to the task.
Mm-hmm. The one problem, though, you can say the stats, but everyone who's watched, probably if you've watched at least 10 games of Bobby Dahlbeck, you can see he is just one of the most inconsistent players we've ever seen in Boston. And plus, we have two guys coming up the ranks really quickly who can take that first base spot over really quick. And that is Blaze Jordan and Tristan Casas. Those two are going to be up in the majors before we know it. And why am I blank? Who was the guy that we traded to the Pirates?
I'm not sure.
Our
Travis Shaw?
No, our first baseman. He was still young.
First baseman. Sam Travis.
No, this is just last year. It started with an M. Michael
Mitch
Chavis.
Moreland. Michael Chavis. Oh, Chavis. Ice Horse.
The Ice Horse. I knew his nickname was Ice something. But yeah.
Dude.
So we already got rid of Chavis.
Yep.
And now Bobby Dahlbeck's already getting thrown around. Those are the two guys that were fighting for the spot. We can kind of say neither have really won it. We can just say that really we're going to expect somebody else. So either one of three things is going to happen. One, Bobby Dahlbeck's just going to get the spot and he's going to run with it. Two, we're going to make another free agent signing and we're going to get a first baseman. Probably not anyone of high caliber, but first baseman nonetheless that can solidify that position, and Bobby Dahlbeck will just play wherever. Three, we're going to see a really, really early Tristan Casas call up, and he's going to be the guy for a while.
I think it's option C.
You think it's C?
Yeah. They call up so for them to be able if you look at the depth chart at first base, it's Bobby Dahlbeck and then it's everybody else right now. Mm-hmm. So for them to say, well, we might try him out in some other spots other than first base, they must have a lot of confidence in Tristan Casas to go out and say, we might go out and we might have him go in other spots. Also, another side thing to add, where's he going to go? Because outfield is pretty booked. The rest of the infield is completely locked down with Devers. We already talked about that middle infield being the best in baseball. Now we're going to put in Bobby Dahlbeck in there. Like, give me a break.
I'm guessing you're going to chuck him in right field and probably put Kike at first if you're going to do anything like that.
That's a possibility. And then they platoon, but then you're going to end up platooning Jackie Bradley Jr., who you really like.
Keep JBJ in left, Verdugo in center, or you can switch them, or you can put Dahlbeck in left.
Verdugo's in left, isn't he?
Verdugo played right and center.
And then I thought it was always JBJ who played right field.
No, JBJ always played center. And then
JBJ always played center. You're right.
And then last year when JBJ was in Milwaukee, they put Verdugo in center.
It's crazy, isn't it, that JBJ's only been gone for a year?
Yeah, my favorite player.
We're getting our boy back.
The
prodigal son returns.
Exactly.
Jackie Bradley Jr. I just wish they didn't trade away Andrew Benintendi. What a waste.
No.
What an absolute waste.
Didn't have a spot.
Yeah, put him in right. Have Verdugo in left, and then JBJ in center.
Hey,
there you go.
We talked about this. My boy Josh Winkowski is gonna be the defining piece of that trade. You're gonna damn well see, and I'm gonna need an apology after that.
So you're seeing that Franchi Cordero didn't work out in that deal. So you're going to that player to be named who was put in the deal. Is that the route we're taking now? And then you're gonna go into the next. Didn't they get like 3 other players who were to be named? So you're just gonna go hop on from one guy to the next until they're not even in
Winkowski, and they got one other dude
until they're literally unemployed and they have a day job. And then you're saying, oh well, you know what? F them.
Till they're selling real estate.
You'll just flip me the bird at that point. Just say, you know what? Screw you, Adam.
Well, when is that?
I hate Andrew Benintendi, even though that was so unjust. Everybody had a bad 2020. 2020 was a bad year for all of us. We were all struggling with being stuck in our homes, and we couldn't even handle for a 10-game stretch Andrew Benintendi struggling and batting 100. Give me a break. Besides that, he's been very solid as a wide
receiver.
Wide receiver. I'm too wired towards football lately with free agency going on. But Andrew Benintendi came back. He hit 17 home runs and batted 276. That's better than any of the other outfielders besides Alex Verdugo. Mm-hmm. And he's still a very solid defender.
Andrew Benintendi, the only reason he's doing so well is because he was in Kansas City. I'm sticking by it. He had Sonny Gray syndrome. And Justin, you could talk about Sonny Gray syndrome more than anyone else here.
Sonny Gray still sucks, though.
Sonny Gray, hold on. Sonny Gray was the biggest clown in New York.
Oh, boy.
And he's gone again.
Whatever he was saying wasn't working out anyways. Sonny Gray. We talk about Sonny Gray, a guy who was only good in the opening years of his career in Oakland. And ever since then, he has not matched up to what he was. He had that elbow issue. I believe he had Tommy John.
Did you not see him in Cincinnati?
He had a decent year in Cincinnati.
He had a great year in Cincinnati.
One hit wonder. I do not trust Sonny Gray. I think that was a low pressure.
Justin, was a low pressure about Sonny Gray.
He was in bum Cincinnati, where pitchers' careers go to die.
Dude, in 2019, his first year in Cincinnati, he had an ERA of 2.87.
2.87. Okay, let me see it more. Let me see more of that.
We didn't have a lot more of that.
Let me see him do that under a bigger spotlight than Cincinnati. That's the lowest pressure place that there is. They've been in,
and that's exactly my point.
Purgatory for years.
That's exactly my point.
So you put him in. So you put him in New York or Boston.
They blow.
He's gonna exactly.
But you put him in a place, aka Kansas City. They're gonna do well, right, Justin?
Yeah, but Sonny Gray hasn't been the same because of injuries.
Touche. But
Andrew Benintendi, you just hate him because he was bad for 10 games in 2020.
He was on the 2018. He was great. 2019, he was on a decline. 2020, we don't talk about.
2019, he was all right.
2021, he started to bounce back only because he was in a low pressure situation. Boston fans, hate it or love it, are ruthless. You start getting on a bad stretch and they're off. They're done. Okay, now we have two Justins in here.
Andrew Benintendi.
Oh, there he is.
Let's see. So in 2019, that you speak of, 266 batting average, 13 home runs, and 68 RBIs in 138 games. That's serviceable. That's better than anything that you had besides Alex Verdugo in the outfield. And yes, he was bad for about 14 games in 2020. Then he comes back. He's healthy. He's rejuvenated because 2020 is over. And now we have a full season, 276 batting average, 17 home runs, 73 RBIs, all in 134 games. Very, very strong year, strong bounce back year. And Andrew Benintendi, you say that he can't manage in that Boston sports market. He was good. He was very good for a solid 3-4 years.
Like 2 years.
And then you're judging him off 14 games in 2020, which was a bad year for everybody.
No, I'm judging him off the fact that he couldn't perform in Boston anymore. Everybody
had that before COVID story, man.
No.
By the way, that 1 year where Boston fans were ruthless. Oh yeah, the fans were ruthless. What were they, ghosts? I didn't see any fans in that stand. There were no fans in Boston.
The Boston sports fans and Boston media are ruthless.
It's pretty easy. If it's not in the stadium, then it's pretty easy to evade. Just get off the internet.
They're not as bad as the Yankees, but
wait, Rob. When you say the media regarding sports, nothing beats New York. Let's just end that right there.
Yeah, no, I never said.
Okay?
I never
New
said
York
that
will
worse
run
than
you out of town. Worse than Philadelphia, worse than Boston. Let's clarify that.
They will
Not
pack
lately.
your bags for you and send your ass to Detroit.
They will
Not
expose you so badly that they'll have your house listed up for sale less than 24 hours.
Are we going to talk about Gary
cans at
Sanchez? Yeah, that's what I thought. All right, we're gonna take a break for a second, and we're gonna call the beautiful bastard Mr. Kostiv to see if he is drunk. He can't hear you guys, but just listen. See if he'll actually answer. I don't think he will. If he's not answering, he's doing it right.
He usually answers.
What's up,
I told you.
Yo, are you drunk?
Hey, what's up?
Are you drunk yet?
I'm
Very?
Yeah.
Okay. So
decent late.
So we have the dumbass Adam and Justin in here. Yeah, we're currently doing the podcast, so you're on live. You can't hear them, but Trevor Story, thoughts?
I love the move. I think it's a great pick up for Chaim. I'm very glad that we finally got a move done for him. And I think it's a great move for us to move forward next year. I think it's a great building block. And if Bogaerts is to leave next year, I can't complain about it. I mean, it's a good move for us for the future.
All right, you'll have to talk more with Adam about that if Bogaerts leaves, because he had a lot to say about that.
Yeah,
but
I think this could be a move for building if Bogaerts is to leave, because I believe Chaim got Story for a decently good deal. I mean, 6 years, 140 isn't that bad, especially in this type of cap. So I think getting Trevor Story for that kind of money is pretty solid, and it's going to be something that we could definitely build towards.
Oh, 100%. But do me one favor before I let you go and just say that the Yankees suck.
Oh, yeah. Yankees suck, bro.
All right. Thank you.
I have 27. You have 10 or 9.
Go get drunk. Go. Make sure you don't drive home. Please take the train.
I am taking the train home. I'm already at South Station. So, listen, it's been a great day.
Anything else you want to say to the Pesky Pole Nation?
Let's go. Let's go St. Patty's Day. Obviously, it's a couple days late, but let's go Red Sox. Let's go St. Patty's Day. Adam, Justin, what's up? I hope you guys have a great day. And Pesky Pole Nation, take care.
Woo! All right. See you, buddy.
I like drunk Brian.
I like drunk Brian. He's
We
not
need to
as
get him
messed
on
up
more
as I
often.
thought he'd be, but
That was pretty.
Man.
That was better than some of his takes sober.
Yeah, that's what we should do. We should have one episode where all of us are just drunk and just give our best takes.
I thought you don't drink.
I don't, but
For the Pesky Pole Nation, we need to have like one
for the
episode
content.
during the week. Like for Fumble Rooski, we should do this too. Once you guys are of age. But what we should do is we should try and do a full episode completely plastered. The kids will love it because that's what sells these days. That's how Barstool Sports makes its money. It's just beer, Friday beers, getting plastered. We're gonna get plastered and talk football for you. Devontae Adams, baby.
Yeah.
Raider Nation.
All right. Really quick, Freddie Freeman to the Dodgers. Hate it, love it. I hate it. Hate it with passion.
For me, it's a ridiculous move. I think it's a ridiculous move because, number one, the way the Braves did him dirty, that was just wild. The way they traded for Matt Olson and then in 1 hour gave him a extension for 6 or 7 years, that just was like, wow, this is what we're doing to folks. See, that's one thing about Atlanta. They have no loyalty, and that's why they blew a 28-3 lead in the Super Bowl. And I'll give that to you guys there. But at the end of the day, I'm really happy the Yankees didn't pick up Friedman because the guy like him, 32 years old, like I repeated before during the podcast, how we've been in years buying players that were like 30 years or older. It's good we didn't get that type of guy because I know a guy like him, the money he wanted, he'll be hurt by year 3 or 4. Mm-hmm. But regardless of the situation, it's a lucky move for the Dodgers. Why? Because, hey, that ridiculous commissioner Rob Manfred, he put the ridiculous move, the universal DH in the National League, which I do not like. I think a DH should continue to be in the American League, have a pitcher bat in the National League, but I think that's a ridiculous thing right there. But with the whole Freeman thing, hey, he got his money. He's going to be playing first base and playing alongside the champions that won in 2020. Hey, I wouldn't mind it, especially your home in LA. You're living your life.
Yeah. You know, I mean, I just think it's complete and utter bullshit how they're able to get that kind of money.
So you're allowed to say the BS word and I'm not?
No, you're never allowed to.
Fuck you, Robert. Am I crazy for saying I kind of like the deal for Los Angeles? I know it sucks for the Braves to do what they did to Freeman, who's played there his entire career, but
he's last out. Let's not forget.
He's 31 right now, and he'll be playing his age 32 season for the Dodgers. How many years is it again? Could you?
Let me look.
6 years.
6 years. So, as a first baseman, to be able to play, let's say he may not make it for all of it. Let's say 4 to 5 years of that to be productive. I say that's worth the money. And now for Los Angeles, that well-oiled machine continues because they have another bat in that lineup that can continue to produce. I have a lot of respect for Los Angeles the past few years. Say what you want about their lack of postseason success. They've won a few rounds, but they've only been able to bring home one championship, and that was the COVID year. But they've managed to stay competitive for the past decade. And it's very reminiscent of those Atlanta Braves teams who just year after year after year would turn in a competitive team. Only had one World Series to show for it. But the fact that they were able to stay competitive for that long for the MLB, very impressive.
By the way, it is a 6-year contract through 2027. But
that's right, yeah.
He's getting paid until 2040. So after 2027, from 2028 to 2035, every year he will make $4 million. And then after that, from 2036 to 2040, he will make $5 million every year.
So he's basically like on that Manny Ramirez type contract.
He's on that Bobby Bonilla kind of contract.
Wow. Oh, that thing.
Not as long, but
if it were any other organization besides, like, let's say Dodgers or Yankees or Red Sox, I would rip them for that. But the thing is, these teams, these big market teams, have all the money in the world to spend. And to spend it on Freddie Freeman, I would not rule them out being able to win a championship now that they have this kind of lineup around. Their pitching is a little iffy, but if they can get some sort of production out of that rotation and their bullpen, then that team is going to be scary good in the next few years.
Yeah, no, they're gonna roll over for the next 3, 4, maybe 5 years, depending on how good their players stay, because the majority of their roster is old.
But like a lot of the spots where they're old at, they're positions where you can be old. Like first base, all you do is stretch.
Third base,
catch the ball. And even like
pitcher.
It's usually the outfielders who rely on their speed and, being able to steal bases, like the Jacoby Ellsburys of the world, that you really need to worry about their age, or also pitchers. But the spots where they're old at, it's not as bad as you might think.
Yeah. All right. Before we end the episode, we just got to go through real quick who's winning the AFC West. I am going to keep a little bias. I'm going to say Denver's going to find a way to win the AFC West.
Are you turning into a Broncos fan?
I root for wherever I live,
So you're no longer a Patriots fan?
No, I am a ride or die Patriots until the day I die. Justin's gone again. I'm a ride or die until the day I die with the Patriots. But, I'm still going to have a little bit of bias towards wherever I live. I could literally walk to Empower Stadium right now. That's how close I am. All right, I drive by there every day on my way to work.
Listen, man, as long as if it's not Tom Brady, there's no bias for me. No bias. if it's not Tom Brady or one of my 4 home sports teams, which is Red Sox, Patriots, Celtics, even Bruins, then there's no bias. I have the Los Angeles Chargers winning that division. That team is loaded to the brim. Everywhere you look, they have talent. Justin Herbert, Mike Williams, Keenan Allen.
That sounds
Jared
like
Cook.
a third place team.
It is not a third place team. One of the better offensive lines in the game, most improved from a couple of years ago when Justin Herbert was getting his teeth kicked in every other play.
Yeah.
You have running back Austin Eckler, who turned in a very good year. You've got that awesome defense with Khalil Mack coming one way from the one end. You got Joey Bosa coming in from another end. That you just added J.C. Jackson to go along with Asante Samuel Jr. That team across the board, electric. And I bet they're going to finish in first, and they could represent in the AFC.
I'm still saying, unless Derek Carr puts in an MVP-like performance again, not for only just 4 weeks, I'm talking about for a full season MVP like Derek Carr, the Raiders could have a shot. But right now it's Broncos, Chiefs, Chargers, Raiders. Justin.
For me to take it out of the division, I have to say the Chiefs, not to sound like a bandwagon because, it's Patrick Mahomes or whatever. However, I have a feeling, and I said in our podcast yesterday, Adam, when we did that 2-hour special, I have a feeling that some player in the Chiefs, such as Travis Kelce or Tyreek Hill, is going to have a season-ending injury. So if that's the case, I'm going to still have the Chiefs. Second, it's going to be the Denver Broncos. Third is going to be the Chargers. Fourth is going to be the Raiders. However, let's not forget, the Chargers, they are the ultimate defensive defenders in that division because you have Joey Bosa, Khalil Mack, and J.C. Jackson. However, with the Chiefs, you don't know if they're going to re-sign the Honey Badger, Tyrann Mathieu, so let's not forget about that right there. But however, the Chiefs' defense in the last 2 years, it sucked, but they've managed their way to get past close games. But at the same time, I have the Chiefs winning that division but not going to the Super Bowl.
Here's my only issue with the Chiefs. They actually back in 2020 had a pretty decent defense. They had some pieces that were performing, and this past year it was a bit of a letdown. It was very shaky. It was very reminiscent of the 2018 Chiefs defense where they were just letting everybody through. And on top of that, that defense got worse. They got younger at safety, but they let Tyrann Mathieu go, who's one of the better playmakers in the game from the safety position. And now he's gone. And he was one of the better personalities on that team. The guy that kind of gets fired up. He's always on the sideline. He's hyping up his teammates. He's gone now. Well, they could re-sign him, but it was obvious they're moving on with him when they got Justin Reed, who's a solid player, but he's not Tyrann Mathieu. And that secondary was already shaky. They haven't done anything at cornerback. And they actually, no, they did. They lost Charvarius Ward too, who was their top corner. That doesn't say much. But, man, I don't know about this Chiefs team. They're going to be competitive because, it's a been there, done that team. They have the best quarterback in the league right now. I don't know, man. I really don't know about the Chiefs.
Yeah. All right. But give me one hot take, NFL-related hot take before we go. And it's got to be a really something you're this probably won't happen, but it'd be nice if it did. I'm going to say first.
You mean bold prediction?
Yeah.
That's not a hot take.
Yeah. Well, the Washington Commies are going to be led by Carson Wentz to the playoffs.
I wouldn't say that's a hot take.
Really?
No, I think this Commanders team is better than that Indianapolis team. And I think Carson Wentz can be a stable quarterback at his best. He had decent statistics this past year. I think he just has a bad rep because he hasn't come nearly close to the expectations, the standard that he set during that MVP caliber campaign back in 2017. But he's otherwise been a decent quarterback. He's just not what he was, which is why people say that he sucks all the time.
which he does. But what's yours?
So, in about a week, on our next episode, we're going to do this thing where we say, because free agency is starting to settle in, I'm going to ask, who are the winners and who are the losers of free agency? My loser of free agency is the entire AFC West. And why, you might ask?
Touche.
And why, you might ask? Because good for them, for whoever comes out of that division and whoever at the least makes the playoffs. You're going to have some losses to your name because that's a really tough division. But if you miss out, you're going to look around at some of these divisions in the league and you're going to be saying, if I were in that division, I would have owned their ass, but I'm here and Russell Wilson's making me my bitch, or Justin Herbert is owning me. Derek Carr is going to look around and he's going to say, what the hell? I have a team with Chandler Jones and Max Crosby in the best, probably one of the better edge rusher duos in the league. You have Devontae Adams, the best wide receiver in the game. Who's the tight end? Darren Waller. And you can't even sniff the playoffs. You finish last, but you win the division anywhere else. It just, oh my God.
Yeah. They look at the AFC South and they just go, fuck off.
They're going to say, like I said,
because whoever wins the AFC South is going to go like 7-9 or like 7.
What I'm saying, it's great and all that they're all landing these pieces, but these players got to start recognizing that, well, if I go to this division, because everybody's getting good players, there's no guarantee that I'm actually going to be able to win enough games.
100%. Justin.
For me, in that division, like what you're just saying, there's gonna how can I be fair? Like in football, it's a man's game. Let's number one, number two, I think it happen. But like in my eyes, I think the biggest loser like so far in free agency is the Patriots. Why? Because the Patriots, they haven't made no particular moves. They could have had a chance to maybe get Jarvis Landry, Amari Cooper, but at the same time, you have to watch out for the luxury tax. You have to watch out for the cap. And my favorite line, the salary cap. But yeah, my famous line, Adam, I always say, I don't believe in no salary cap in football. It's up to the coach. No, it's not up to the coach, but it's up to management and owners if they really want to pay the guy the money. And at the same time, you're seeing ridiculous contracts right now. For example, Von Miller. You really think Von Miller is really worth $100 more million?
$120 million for 6 years.
Not even worth that type of money. So they're gonna cut that guy in maybe 3 to 4 years. But at the same time, is it a good signing? Yeah. But right now, my loser in this free agency so far is the Patriots. They could have done way much better, knowing that there's been a lot of targets out there for them to sign.
The salary cap is a real thing, Justin.
Yeah,
I don't believe
it's
okay. Let me ask you this though. Okay, so with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, they didn't really have a lot of money.
They actually did. Yeah, they did.
They
restructured a lot of contracts.
Yeah, but like with that right there, they were able to re-sign Chris Godwin. I love Chris Godwin. I love the Buccaneers, but like something like that, like I don't believe in those salary caps, man. I'm sorry.
I'm pretty sure he got 3 years, 60 mil.
60 mil, yeah.
40
mil guaranteed, yeah.
Yeah, and then they restructured a lot of their deals. It's the problem. It's not that the cap doesn't exist. It's just so easily manipulated. It's a real thing because the Packers have been suffering from it this offseason, and they had to pay their franchise quarterback, so they couldn't bring back Zadarius Smith. They had to cut him as a cap casualty. All right. If the owners really had the choice, they would not have cut Zadarius Smith. Let's be real. Yeah. And they would not have had to let go. They would not have had to restructure all these players' contracts the way they have in order to bend over backwards to make Aaron Rodgers' contract work. And they also bent over backwards to try and get Devontae Adams. Ultimately, he ended up saying, no, screw you, I'm out of here. But they were still trying to make things work. So the cap is a real thing. It's just easily manipulated.
All right. I do have to cut you guys off there. We got to call it a day. But thank you guys for coming on. Adam, real quick, shout yourself out for the people.
All right, guys, go and check out the Fumble Rooski podcast. You guys got a little sample, little slight taste of myself and Justin Hill going at each other about our opinions and talking about the latest in the NFL. And this offseason, let's face it, it's been a crazy one. And you're going to need a podcast to keep up with everything going on because it's hard to keep up. And we will keep you caught up the entire time. We will be putting out episodes weekly, and our Instagram will keep you caught up as well. We're going to put out plenty of NFL coverage. Check us out. You will not regret it. This is the only NFL podcast you will need. Also, we're called the Fumble Rooski podcast. I'm not sure if I mentioned that, but
we said that. Justin, shout yourself out.
I'm Justin Hill. Thank you for listening. I'm part of the Fumble Rooski podcast as well. You can read my articles or my sports takes or any other things on the Dean Daily. And just see me on the Fumble Rooski podcast as well.
I'm not going to lie. His sports takes kind of do suck, mainly because he is a Yankees, Giants, and Lakers fan, because why not?
I keep it real. I'm not a biased fan. Come on, you know me, Rob.
Yeah, I'm surprised you're not a Cowboys fan for football.
Never.
At least we're not bandwagons who go, oh, well, I gotta show some bias to the place I'm at. Like, because you're in the geographic spot means that you have to start rooting for the team.
Well, they're far. Like, if I were to go live in Miami, I wouldn't root for the Dolphins because they're in the same division as the Patriots. I'm on the whole opposite side of the freaking country from my home team. All right.
But Denver's still in the AFC.
I don't give a fuck. All right. And by the way, I can
tell you don't. Because you're a bandwagon.
I told Costa.
A ride or die Patriots fan. Bullshit.
I told Costa. I said, Adam said drunk Costa is better than sober Costa. He said, tell Adam I said to fuck off.
What did I say?
You said that drunk Costa had better takes than sober Costa.
That you're twisting my words. I said some of his sober takes because sometimes I disagree with him. But you're gonna manipulate, twist my words to make me look like a bad person. Oh, text Brian. He doesn't have anything better to do with his life.
That's exactly what you said.
I did not say it.
All right, we gotta cut the cameras. Thank you guys so much for listening. Huge shout out to Adam and Justin who came on from the Fumble Rooski podcast. Make sure you go check it out. Links will be in the description, either on Spotify or on YouTube. As always, boys, good to see you again. With that being said, God bless you guys. Let's roll that outro music. See you next time.
Denim jeans, broken dreams in my pocket. Golden thing round my neck like a locket. Carve your name in my mind, 'cause you caught it. Honestly, you know it. Me under the street light at the young, so I could show you. You're golden. Honestly, you're glowing. Me under the mezzanine, just so that I could show you. You're golden. Hey, you're golden. You're golden. Laid on the carpet, eye to eye, glistening. No, I saw it. I saw it. You're golden, golden. Honestly, you know it. Me under the street light at the end, so I could show you. You're golden, golden. Honestly, you're glowing. Me under the mezzanine, just so that I could show you. You're golden. Hey, you're golden. You're golden. Hey, you're golden. Golden. You're golden. Yeah, you're golden. You know it. Yeah, you're glowing. Golden. Golden, golden. Honestly, you know it. Me under the street or at the end, so I could show you. Golden, golden. Honestly, you know it. Me under the golden. Hey, you're golden.